Welcome to video blog of the week. It has been a tough week. I've been dealing with a lot of pain in my right shoulder and just had an MRI last week and found out that unfortunately the likelihood is that it's going to need surgery to repair a rotator cuff that's torn. And that would be one thing if I weren't already so familiar with that story, because right now I'm actually recovering from the second rotator cuff surgery on my left shoulder that I've had in a year. So it's been a lot of loss, and I've been dealing with a lot of pain, and it has kept me from being able to write without pain, and which is something that I do for my work. But that has taken me, actually, by God's grace, I've really been studying the book of Ruth, and particularly Naomi's part of the story in the last couple of weeks. And I posted this riddle on, I think it was a tweet. I don't know if you can read it, but the question was, let's see, the question was, where is the hope in this verse? It is more bitter for me than for you, because the Lord's hand has turned against me. It sounds pretty hopeless, and Naomi's life at that point when she said that was pretty hopeless. She had suffered severe loss. Her husband had moved their family from Bethlehem to Moab, and then he had died. They were going there to get food. He died, and then their sons, 10 years later, having married Moabite women, also died. So Naomi is left without, not only with the painful loss of her entire family, but also all of her potential means for support, because in that culture, that's how it worked. And so she's headed back to Bethlehem because she's heard that the Lord had visited his people and given them food. Verse 6, you really should read this for yourself, just to see how operative the Lord is in this entire story. And she's headed back, and suddenly she realizes, you know what, this isn't any good for you, the daughters-in-law, and she tells them, turn back. And she says, may the Lord be kind to you and give you rest. But she doesn't have much hope for herself. She's pretty hopeless. And yet, as we look back at this verse, we see that there is hope there, because she says the Lord's hand. The Lord's hand is in the story. And just personally, for me, in a lot of doubt and confusion and pain and frustration over the past week, that memory that the Lord's hand is in this story, that recognition that both in my life and far more through the redemption of Jesus Christ, the Lord has come into the worst of stories and made them really good stories, is where the hope lies. And so just coming to you to encourage you, to tell you that the Lord has encouraged me. Book of Ruth, great book. Hope, hope, hope of the Lord's sovereign love operating in our lives, and wishing you well.